Hi, science and magic. Welcome to this video. We are going to talk about feminine energy and how feminine energy feels in the body. My name is Amanda Lebeck, and this channel talks about the nervous system. It talks about working deliciously. It explores feminine energy by way of embodiment, and also works with high achievers and high achieving personalities who are go, go, go. They like to, hit goals and plan out their lives, but tend to get stuck in their heads and forget about their bodies in the process. So I do want to give a little caveat here. I have a newborn, 7 weeks almost, and I don't have childcare for him at the moment, but I wanted to do this live stream anyway. So he is on his playmat down here, taking a little nap and might wake up at any time, during which I will take a break and try to hold him as I'm doing this. And I might have to cancel the live stream early. So we're going to see how it goes. But I was like, oh, you can't bring a baby on a live stream. And then I thought, who doesn't want to hear baby noises? So if you hear little cooing or snoring or whatever, that's what's going on. He's so cute. And this is fun for me to have his energy here on this live stream. I do also want to talk about the course I'm launching in August, which I'm so excited about. It's called Nervous System of a Goddess. And it is going to be about embodiment. Instead of just talking about the nervous system, we're really going to dive into how to embody goddess energy in every cell of our being. And this works with nervous system education. I study neuroscience in college and have a lot of experience working with the nervous system with hands-on body work. And it's also going to talk about how to apply it to everyday life. It's 8 weeks and weekly live calls with me. And you get lifetime access to the course dashboard after, and then all the content will be evergreened. And so even if you're listening to this past, August 2023, that link will still be relevant to you and you can still purchase the course. Welcome. Oh, thank you for the congratulations on my baby. I know it's my first too. So this is a transition into motherhood. And I feel like I've been learning so much about feminine energy by growing life in my body and then birthing that life. And I'm just excited to see how this integrates in what I share in my work. So feminine energy can be accessed in the heart and in the whole body. Masculine energy is in the head. And when I realized this, I was like, oh my gosh, my work is all about feminine energy because my work is all about embodiment and how to connect into the body. Yes, I study neuroscience. Yes, brain is in the head, but the nervous system exists and weaves throughout the whole body. I mean, it innervates the bones and the muscles and the organs and the skin, and it's everywhere. So that's part of my framework of connecting into the body this way, not to mention the heart has its own nervous system and its own little bundle of neurons. And there's so much to be said about the heart. So this is where feminine energy lives. And many of us get stuck in our heads, especially if we are self-identified high achievers. If we're workaholics, we tend to be very logical, very linear direction focused, very mental. And something that I hear a lot from high achievers is, oh, I can't stop my thoughts, or I have a hard time slowing down. I have a hard time sitting still. So to bring the attention into the body, it's not about slowing the thoughts. It's about withdrawing our identity with the mental plane. Feminine energy is not something to figure out. It's not something to clench into. It's something to feel into. And this is what we're going to talk about today. Feminine energy is something to sense, and it's something to sense not with the mind, because our senses live throughout the whole body, this physical form. There's a lot of spiritual practices that help us to transcend the body. And there's something beautiful about that. And that can be helpful because we are spirit. We are cosmic energy, but also we are earth too. We are physical form. So that energy streams through the physical body And that dance is what makes us uniquely human. And this invitation here in this video is to find the goddess in the body, find our divinity through the body. And this can be terrifying for some people, especially, trauma can be stored in the body. There can be areas of great pain, chronic pain, injury. So I hear all of this, and all of this is part of the dance. By no way am I saying sink into the body and it's going to be rainbows and butterflies. It's a journey. It's a cyclical journey. It's a journey with highs and lows, peaks and valleys, but it is messy and it is beautiful and it is imperfect, and it's the divine feminine. So the first aspect of this is feeling our body. And if you're so used to being in your head, you probably have no clue what that means or how that can be. The first thing here is understanding the nervous system. And this is a lot of the work that I offer and the work that I do with my clients and what I share on my videos on YouTube is understanding that, yes, we are spirit, but also we have these animal bodies that have evolved in a certain way throughout history and throughout time to be able to stay alive. And what helps us to stay alive is our nervous systems. And we have a stress response, and we have something called fight or flight that gives us immense energy to meet threats. And we have something called rest and digest. And that's something that allows us to restore and repair. And how these branches kind of interplay and weave together throughout life has a lot to do with how we experience life. What's happened over time is that the way our nervous system has evolved was really good at meeting threats for our ancestors, where they had these really peak, scary, life-threatening situations, and then they were able to have the time and space to discharge that energy. In our current society, we are hit with constant little stressors that aren't necessarily life-threatening, that live a lot in the head. And these constant, stressors emit the same biological cascade as was the same cascade of our ancestors experienced when they were being chased by a predator or something. So I say this because if you're feeling wired and if you're feeling wound up and like you have a hard time sitting still and you have a hard time slowing your thoughts, you're probably in a state of activation more often than not. And this will shoot you up into the head, because when we're stressed out and when we're triggered, we have an increase in psychomotor speed in the brain so that we can process things really fast. We have a narrowing of focus so that we can scan our environment and seek threats. All of these things, they help us to activate, to do, to react. It brings us very external outside of us. So when you start to understand the nervous system and what's going on and the different signs and signals, oh, interesting, my heart rate is increasing, or my shoulders are clenched, or my jaw is really tight right now. I feel my palms start to sweat. You can start to track your nervous system and look at all those things are body. So you start to become in your body, and then you know that you're being triggered, but you're not swept up in that trigger, if that makes sense. You're like, interesting, my body is stressed out right now. And then you can start to develop techniques around, okay, how do I bring my nervous system back to a baseline that is more towards rest and digest? We don't always want to be in rest and digest because it's beautiful to have activated energy. Like that's what gets us going in the morning a lot of times. But our society in general is tipped over to that space, especially high achievers, especially those who have more masculine-centered energy, maybe even masculine-centered energy residing in a feminine essence body. So just understanding the nervous system can be huge in helping us to feel empowered to understand why our body is feeling the way it is, and then having things to do to apply to life, like yoga, like meditation, like different somatic exercises to interact with the nervous system when it's getting triggered, when it's getting activated. That will help you get into the body, because if you have an activated nervous system, like sinking in can feel so uncomfortable. So this is a big realm. And then engaging with the senses can be really, really helpful and important. I actually have a really awesome meditation called, I think it's like sensual energy, feminine sensual energy, but it helps you to sink into your senses. What are you feeling with your skin? Like right now, what are you feeling? For me, it's kind of warm and humid where I'm living. So I'm feeling like this humidity, this wetness in the air on my skin. I feel warm. What are you smelling? What aromas are in the air? What are you tasting? When you're eating food, you taste it all the way. What are you hearing? What's falling into your ears? I hear rumbling outside. I hear my little newborn breathing as he's napping. All of these things, do you feel how it brings you into this moment through the experience of the physical body? And when you're seeing something, not narrow focus, but letting that image come into your eyes. So I'm looking at a plant right here, and I'm letting the green, I'm letting the life come into my eyes. All of this stuff brings you into the body, the experience of the body, because when you're focused on the sound of, my newborn just breathing so cute, napping, and dream world, I'm not really in my head here. I'm not in my thoughts. You divert attention into your senses, and it's so delicious. It helps you be present. Like when you're eating a meal, eat the meal, be there, rather than scrolling through, Instagram or watching a YouTube video and being out of the body in the mental plane. Sink into the experience of taste. Notice the different, salty, sweet, umami, all these things, and let it feel delicious. Let yourself feel that pleasure of eating. This is very, very feminine, to be in the body through senses. So feeling the body, another visualization I like is an hourglass, and then all the sand is at the top of the hourglass in the head, and then it can flow down through the neck down into the rest of the body. And you can just sit and feel that, responding to gravity, just letting that sand flow into the body. I also really like body scans. So sinking into a meditation where they bring your awareness and your consciousness into one body part at a time. So it can be right hand, left hand, feel your right wrist, your left wrist. If you divert your awareness, your consciousness into the body, you're not paying attention to those thoughts anymore, because thoughts are going to happen. And if you try to have perfection around that and expect yourself not to think, you'll probably get pretty frustrated. I know a lot of high achievers are really into perfection too. Like, I need to do this the right way, or I'm not doing it. And there's no right way to do this. It's a practice. It's an embodiment. It's a slowness of being. I try to eat by the window and watch the birds and animals. Eating slower is a practice I'm taking on too. I love that. Yeah, eating by the window, watching the birds and animals. And I'm sure that, like, what I'm getting from that that situation or that experience is that time kind of slows, or it becomes a timeless state. And that is also a quality of that goddess energy. Like time becomes still. Linear time doesn't exist. You start to exist in presence and in the layers of time. And when you slow down and you're in your senses, timelessness becomes a part of your beingness. So if you're watching this live or on the replay, please give this video a like. I can't tell you how much that helps my channel to grow and to be seen, and my message of embodiment and nervous system and feminine energy and working deliciously to spread as well. The second aspect here is feeling our emotions. Okay, this is a big one because a lot of us stuff our emotions for a variety of reasons. Maybe we didn't feel safe showing them growing up. Maybe we view them as weak. But with emotions, see if you can feel them as sensations. So instead of saying, I am sad, You could say, I feel tears start to well up in my eyes. My eyes feel hot. You could say, my chest feels heavy. I feel the presence of gravity flowing through my body and making me really heavy. If you're saying, oh, I'm feeling so mad right now. Oh, my head is starting to heat up. I feel my limbs start to shake and tremble. I can feel my jaw clench. So see how these are sensations. You could say, like, I'm feeling buzzing. I'm feeling, like a vibrating energy. I'm feeling a slow, milky energy. See this color. So you start to take it into the language of the body, which is that of sensation. Otherwise, we can start to create story around this, and the story is in the mental plane. And I'm even saying, so the negative ones are really important. I quote unquote negative. I don't like this polarity of like there's positive and negative emotions because they're emotions. They're a spectrum. We're human. And all of them have their own beauty. The idea is not to get stuck in one particular emotion. I mean, to let yourself be fluid along that scale is really, really important. So if there's an emotion that you find hard to feel or hard to experience, think of that right now. It could be jealousy, it could be fear, it could be rage. And then maybe jot down the sensations when you know that it's present. I'm telling you, this is a gift to your body to listen to those emotions and to share them with the people around you, especially if you have a masculine energy partner. Hi, Vision. Welcome. 444. I love it. Yeah, I was going to do this a little bit later. Actually, it was scheduled for 15 minutes from now. But like I was saying at the beginning of this live stream, I'm working with my newborn, my baby, and he decided to fall asleep. And so I said, let me go and do my live now and see how long it can last. So these negative emotions, how can we call them? Unpleasant emotions, perhaps? These unpleasant emotions to feel, these more darker, heavier, denser emotions. These are the ones that we tend to run from. And to feel them is how we get them to move. But in order to feel them, we have to have a degree of safety. It's really important. So this is why working with a therapist can be really helpful. Working with a somatic experience practitioner, talking it over with someone in your life who you feel safe, joining a community support group. But if you just stuff those emotions, then you're just going to go up into the head. And the head is where masculine energy lives. And then you create logic, but the emotion still lives in your body. It still lives in your energy field. Those sensations still exist. But if it's hard to feel them, then they're not heard and they can't move. It's like if a friend was coming into, your apartment or something, and they needed to be heard. And you said, oh, I'm uncomfortable with this, get out, get out, get out. Well, they never fully feel heard. And so that just builds for them. Same thing. Think of your body as your friend that you're listening to, this emotion as your friend. And if you feel like you can be with a sensation, be with an emotion without going into overwhelm, which is why it's important to understand signs of the nervous system, then that emotion or that feeling can pass. And it's a part of the human experience. It can start to move. It can have some space. It can feel heard. I also think it's really, really a gift to be able to share how we're feeling in our bodies out loud. Vulnerability is so feminine. When we describe our emotions, unpleasant or pleasant, from the perspective of the body, a masculine person who's really in their head gets the gift of feeling what it's like to be in body. So think of it like, okay, if I'm having a really good day and you're riding in the car with your masculine partner And rather than say, oh, I'm feeling so much joy right now, you can say, my heart feels like it's exploding. I feel tingling all over my skin. I'm so happy sitting next to you. I mean, isn't that beautiful? Or if you're feeling really hurt by them, you could say, it feels like someone stabbed me in the stomach right now. I feel a pit welling up in my throat. And I feel scared, or I feel just pain. See how that's different than creating a story? It's very feminine to be able to articulate the emotions as sensations that flow through the body and share that with your partner. And especially if they're masculine, they are almost in awe or enamored by this because they have a hard time getting into their body. I think a lot of people on this channel have more of a feminine essence, but are stuck in their masculine energy. So with a little practice, this will come more naturally and it will feel more resonant. It'll feel like home for you. You'll feel more you if you can get the hang of this, but it'll feel awkward at first. So this is feminine energy, articulating this. I'm trying to think if there's anything else with emotions. You said fear for tightness in chest is fear. And there's a reason for that. When we're scared, when we've been triggered, the chest tightens because the heart rate increases and the blood flow increases to get blood out to our limbs so that we can meet the threat at hand. So your heart is just increasing, heart rate. These are also important things to know. So the next time you feel fear, you can say, oh, interesting, my chest is tightening right now. I'm going to lean into that and just notice it. I'm safe because there's not a threat around me. My physical body is not in danger. Hi, fear. You're welcome here. I'm listening to you. I can hold you. And if you have someone around you who you want to share that with, speak it out loud. Live through the body. Live through your feelings. Otherwise, you just dart up into the head and that fear stays there, but you're locked up in the head. I don't know if any of you can relate to this. Just let me know. I mean, in the chat, in the comments, I'm so curious if those watching this have a hard time feeling their emotions or being vulnerable. Why is it so hard to be vulnerable? Just ask yourself this, like, what am I scared of to be vulnerable? Are you scared of being hurt? What does being hurt feel like? Can you sit with that feeling? Can it move from you sitting with that feeling? That happens for me too. Also, nausea and pain in my stomach. Okay, so with fear, again, nervous system's triggered, digestive system shuts down because when we're being chased by an animal, it's not time to digest food. It's time to run, fight, and the digestive system can take a break. So a lot of people who are chronically stressed have a hard time digesting food because of this. Thank you for sharing. The third aspect, feel our intuition. Intuition is knowing without logic. You know, but you don't know why. Basically, your brain is not involved, but your body's involved. You can really feel that something is right or something is wrong. And it's got this mystery, or something is for you or something is not for you. Or you should talk to this person or you shouldn't talk to this person. And the more we develop our connection with our body, the more this ability will be accessible to us. There's actually 3 definitions of intuition that I wanted to share, offered by the Heart Math Institute. I really like them. The first is the somatic awareness, this understanding that everything that we've experienced in life, it lives in the body and it lives in our subconscious and it informs how we maneuver through life. It's our conditioning in a way, but it's all this information and it lives outside of the conscious mind. So when someone asks us a question, our intuition comes from this landscape that we've developed, this informational system that's stored in the body and in the brain too. But that's why we can know without knowing, because that knowing is unique to us, but it comes from a really deep place. The second definition is energetic. So this is when someone can be in a room with you and you can feel them looking at you and you're not seeing them, but you can feel them. This can be some people are really sensitive to storms, so they can feel the energy of a storm system coming on. You can walk into a room and sense dense energy, or you can sense, again, I'm trying not to use good and bad. They can sense light energy. They can sense loving energy. So this is, how do I describe energy? Our body is electric and it emits a magnetic field around us. And all life forms have an electric magnetic field around them. And so we are our physical bodies, but we extend off of them. So when you're someone who's really sensitive to the energy field, and we all have access to this, some of us are more sensitive than others, then that can be a part of this intuition. It's not mental. It's not logical. It's sensing. And when we can drop our attention into the heart, into the gut, we'll talk about this in a second, then we have access to these energy fields. And the third definition is non-local. So this is for, when you think of someone and then they call you out of nowhere from like across the country, or you have a child and you know they need you or something is off and it turns out they do need you. It's this theory that we are connected by some web and that our consciousness can sense across time and space. That's the most mysterious one. But the HeartMath Institute says that the intuition can be accessed through the heart. And the heart has an amplitude, electromagnetic amplitude, 60 times that of the brain. So it extends far beyond the surface of the body. So by developing a connection with your heart, and this is what I do with a lot of my clients after we understand the nervous system, I help them understand the heart brain and build a connection relationship to their heart, because I think it connects us not only to our deep essence, our spirit, but it's incredibly feminine to be in touch with the heart. And it also links us into this interconnectivity, this web of life form. And it's very feminine to be in relationship, not independent, to be in the web, mixed in and considering all living beings. I think intuition also exists in the gut brain. There's millions of neurons that live in the gut. This is things like gut instinct. But it's a quicker energy. It's like, this is instinct. It's like different than intuition, in my opinion. It's more survival based, or more like, I got punched in the gut with this idea. It comes from this guttural, primal space. Heart has a softness to it. It has a mix of compassion. And then I think we can also access our intuition through the third eye, but this is more masculine. This is like, this space of the body, when we hold our attention here, is very vision focused. It's vision oriented, sight beyond seeing. And there's a lot of people who see visions and are very visual and can see symbols and see colors, and they can work with that energy center. But if you're only up here and you don't have access to this, just know that, this is a form of intuition. It's just a bit more airy, a bit more mental, a bit more cosmic. And down here, it's a bit more earthy, grounded. You can think of the heart too as this mix between mental, cosmic, and then earth. It comes into the heart and then emulates out throughout all spaces. So these three different aspects of feeling our body, bringing our attention in the body, tracking the body, being with the body, feeling our emotions. When an emotion arises, rather than pop up and create a story about it, sense the sensation, pause, take space. If you feel like you're not going to run into overwhelm, then just track the emotion, track the sensation, name it, share it with the person next to you, especially if you're in partnership. And then feeling your intuition. Intuition is that inner knowing. It's not logical. And because it's not logical, it's very feminine. Logic is very masculine. It's very directive. It's very A, B, C, D. It's very much what many high achievers have. If any of you watching have questions, now would be a good time to ask them, or comments. But he's doing so good, my little baby. Sounds like he's kind of waking up though. Yeah. And if you have any questions about my course, just let me know. I'm so excited. It launches in August of 2023, and you can get early bird pricing through the next week. That ends July 1st, and the investment will raise in July. This is my first body of work that is specifically geared towards naming that it's feminine energy. Like I said, all of my work is designed around embodiment, and my framework lives in how we connect to our bodies, has a big role in how we relate with our lives. But this is my first course that's like feminine energy specifically, goddess embodiment, queen embodiment, and bringing our knowledge of the nervous system into that, I think it's going to be so amazing. I just can't wait to see what comes through. And honestly, I didn't even expect that 7 weeks postpartum I'd be launching a course and doing live streams, but I feel like this knowledge is flowing through me and I feel really energized by it. So I'm not pushing it. It's just flowing and it feels so good. Once again, give this video a like, share it, leave a comment. I adore hearing from you all. It brings me so much joy and it keeps me motivated to make new content because I feel like I'm connecting with all of you. So thanks for those of you tuning in and writing in the chat, and I will see you in the next one.